Hi everyone, welcome to first Gateway API meeting of 2025. This is the 3 p.m. PST Gateway API meeting for January 6, 2025. As always, we are a Kubernetes meeting, so we abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which in short translates to, be good to each other. So, not heaps on the agenda today, but I think probably the most important thing is check-ins on GEPs, or at least reminding us each other of what we're all committed to. I certainly have been, warming up the old long-term storage after having been off for a couple of weeks. So I guess we'll get started with the check-ins on the in-scope GEPs. So we've got those ones that we have percentage-based request mirroring, backend TLS policy, and policy attachment. Guy's not here. I haven't had a chance to catch up with him yet, so we'll leave that one. I don't see Jake here. Does anyone else have any updates on the?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that one is all Leor now, and that conformance PR, I've
Okay.
already reviewed it. I want to say I may have already approved it. I don't know, but it just would benefit from some other eyes looking. Apparently, I haven't actually approved it, but I know I've reviewed it.
Yeah.
Really just needs one or two more sets of eyes on it. Um, a reminder on this one, we really need to make sure we have enough implementations. I think we might be sitting at 2 right now, I can't remember, but since this
Yep.
is targeting GA, we need a minimum of 3 that are all passing conformance tests, so,
Yep.
we may also, need someone out there to throw in another implementation. I think this is a pretty tiny one to implement, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, good news is that's not. This one is not blocked on the next phase finishing
yeah.
on the phase. So yeah, that one can keep going. Yeah. Candace, for backend TLS policy, where are we at?
Um, yes, I did a little bit more testing over the break, but didn't make any,
That's
didn't make
100%
any,
fine. It's like a holiday.
yeah, didn't make much progress, but still aware of it.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Again, I think that basically a large part of us reviewing this today is just about reminding each other like what we've all committed to and what we're on the hook for. So yeah, I don't feel bad that you haven't done anything. I certainly haven't done anything on my one over the holidays. So, okay. So to hit the experimental stuff, we got the cause filter, listener sets, retry budgets, and auth. I think
I saw some fresh comments today on the course filter PR, so I need to follow up on that, but I would
yeah, I haven't
imagine
looked at it yet.
all of us could use another look at it. It's got some good reviews already. It's a really
Okay.
well-written gap, in my opinion. There's just
Yep.
some rather nitpicky details that are require you to spend a bit of time on the RFC to be like, wait a second, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
or your own implementation to make sure you can
Yep.
match what this is saying.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's looking. I agree. It looks like it's in a pretty good spot to go ahead. Uh, Listener sets I have not looked at for like 3 weeks, so and I don't see Dave. So yeah, this one is definitely a thing that we need to spend more time on. It already has 135 comments. That's actually less than I thought it would be. Um, but yeah, Dave has updated since the last time I looked. So yeah, I'll give this one a review in the next couple of days. Does anyone else have anything they want to say there on the listener set stuff? Okay, cool. Um, okay. Hang on, my Chrome has anyway. Uh, so let's see. Retry budgets. Do we have? Oh, so Mike is not here. Does anyone know anything? Has anyone seen anything happening here?
I have not seen any updates recently, no.
Okay. No problem. And then last but I guess certainly not least is auth. That's on me. There was a bunch of comments in that last week just before Christmas that I did not have a chance to get to, so that is on my plate for the next day or so. So my plan with this was originally that this one is like the introduction and background, and then we actually need to add a proposal API here, but I wanted to sort of get everyone on the same page about the introduction and background. So I'll go in and add some responses and updates and things here in response to that. But some of those updates there'll be more updates on this in the next PR to this GEP document. Yeah, I'm really trying to do this the way that I think that works best for GEPs, which is to have multiple PRs rather than to have one huge PR that has like 200-300 comments on it. I think it works much better when you try and have smaller PRs with smaller numbers of comments. It's much easier to keep track of where everything is at. Okay. So yeah, that's all of the in-scope GEP things. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about GEPs before we right, yes. Sorry, Leo. Yes, we already mentioned that we need some more reviews on the conformance test PR. So no worries.
Thanks.
Yep. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about the in-scope GEPs? Nope. Coolio. Rob, do you want to talk us through this next one?
Yeah, this is just one. I think Candace probably has some context here as well. It's got a few approvals, but Candace, I think you left one of the last comments on here, which was basically, let's just make sure that this is more widely known and accepted before we just merge it. So this is more of an FYI. It's got a couple approvals and an LGTM already. Candace, since you're on the call, I don't know if you had anything specific in mind, like what enough would be, but I definitely agree that getting it out is useful. I don't know what threshold makes sense though.
Yeah, I feel like it changes the intention of the backend TLS policy target refs. I don't know if this is exactly breaking. I'd have to refresh myself. It felt at the time like this was a bit of a breaking change, and even though we're still working with V1 Alpha 3 or backend TLS policy, I mean, we have numerous implementations already.
I don't know. That's fair. I don't know what an implementation would do. So what this, as I remember, what it's supposed to prevent is, basically two parent or target refs pointing at the same resource without any form of differentiation. And what this is saying is if you have two that point at the same thing, they both need to have a section name. So the things it prevents are two pointing at the same thing without a section name, or one with a section name and one without. And in both cases, they feel close to invalid, right? Like I don't really know what you would do as an implementation with that. So it is in a sense a breaking change in that we're tightening validation. And so there are configs that would have worked before that won't work now. But I think I would argue that the configs that would have gone through before would have been invalid from the perspective of any controller implementing it.
Yeah,
or maybe not invalid, but just ignore.
I think they'd have been hard to reason about and very difficult to implement. Like if you have two lots of backend TLS policy that say to connect to this service, use this certificate or use this key pair or whatever, then how do you pick which one? Like, there's no priority, there's nothing, you basically, they are conflicting. And what this is doing is sort of recognizing that the two references are conflicting, right? Like if you have I mean, to think about it in the simplest possible term here, if you have two back-end TLS policies pointing to the same service, like what should an implementation do there? Like right now, we kind of allow that, and it doesn't really make any sense. Like you can only have one, you can only use one set of TLS details. Does that make sense, Candice? All right, if I missed something.
Yes. I'd have to look over the comments again. I felt like it just wasn't clear about exactly what this was addressing. And and that we would want to change documentation and just make sure that everybody who needs to implement this does. I really don't know about the use case, if this would be breaking anyone else's tests or use cases, but yeah, and I don't know if those are valid use cases, but it just feels like something that we shouldn't just slip in there without.
Yeah, 100%. At an absolute minimum, we need to call this out as a breaking change, right? Like, and it'll be so. And the thing here is, we are aiming to bring back TLS policy to GA. So if we have a breaking change between experimental and GA, it's actually like, it kind of sucks. It's bad UX, but it's also something that I mean, practically, we actually want people to get used to the idea that they may be breaking changes between experimental and GA, because that is literally what Rob's proposal about separate API groups is going to do. Like to say, hey, if you're moving from experimental to GA, you should be like redoing your resources anyway. So in terms of like, we'll need to call it out in a changelog for sure. But like, I mean, this is literally the point of leaving something in experimental for a while, is to be able to find this sort of thing. Does it block up moving to GA? I don't think so. I think this is actually a really good clarification that is actually way useful for GA personally. But I 100% agree. I would like to see you go through this one, Candice, when you have some time, and sit down and have a proper think about it. Because again, I haven't had a proper think about it. Just a very quick one. So I'd be very happy to be told I'm wrong on this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, so we'll leave that one. Leave that one with you for further review, Candice.
I just like I need to drop soon, so can I just put the announcement on
sure.
the meeting? Yeah. So yeah, just like there's wanted to say that there's we had a few conversation about it in the last meetings, gateway meetings. So I scheduled the Gamma status roadmap meeting for 2025 this Friday, 11 a.m. PT. So if anyone else want an invite, so just ping me your mail. I'm just gonna put you on the invite.
Great. Could you make sure that uses a recorded thing so that we can get it uploaded as per normal eventually? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make that. So, but I would like to see what happens.
Okay. Do you want anyone? Okay. If anyone else from Hyperviolent or Cilium representative want to join, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just 11 a.m. PT is like, I think it'll be like 5 a.m. Saturday my time or something like that. So
okay.
like, really don't want to join that one. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think we could, I think, reuse this Zoom and record, and it would just end up on the same playlist for the handful of people that watch these things.
I think we do have to talk to the I think we do need to talk to the YouTube admins to like click a button or something, because I don't think it's 100% automated, or if it is.
Yeah, they always have to manually review all these recordings, so yeah.
Yep. So I think there's actually a question in the chat in the channel about this.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think Rob or I will follow up with that. But yeah, no problems. I don't. I mean, I don't think it likely that I'd have any objections to what you're going to say anyway, unless you unless you have some big surprise planned.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's Also, the timing is driven by the EST folks who are not on the call right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you, I'll make sure we reuse the meeting or have it recorded. But
And
yeah.
if you can take some notes as well, that'd be great. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Feel free to just put the notes either in here or in the old Gamma agenda document as well. And just say where you put them in there.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Well, last thing on the docket for today is Rob. Let's talk connection coalescing again.
Yeah, I hate to bring this one up again. This is more of an FYI, and this is the thing I signed up to deal with over the break or early this year. I think I've already explained the problem at high level, and many of the folks on this call were kind enough to show up to a meeting that was focused on this mid to end of December, which was very helpful. If you scroll down to the very, very bottom, there's like 4 bullet points from that meeting. And I just for this group, I think I've already covered this in some high level, but you're going to see some PRs coming from me soon-ish, famous last words, that one suggests some kind of status that we put when we detect that gateways are in this potentially in this problematic state. We don't have enough information to know with certainty, but we know when something could be problematic. And that means we also need to have corresponding documentation that we can use to explain this, because this is a remarkably complicated topic that can't possibly fit in any kind of status message, whatever, right? Second thing is Arco has a great gap on client cert validation. That needs to change. I'm not going to make a PR to do an API change, but I will make a PR to modify the gap and get feedback there. Then there's this idea that we should be more clear about recommending 421s. And in many of these cases where we have basically overlapping SNIs in our config. And then finally, the last one is, I think, and this is going to become a bigger can of worms. These are kind of going down in terms of, well, okay, the first 3 are all achievable in this release. The last one is, I don't know. I'm gonna try, but who knows if it's gonna get into this release. But there's probably going to need to be some kind of global gateway level TLS config that probably starts just with this client cert auth stuff that needs to move up and out of listener. Maybe there's some other stuff that gets added in there in the future, but those are all the things I'm trying to work on in 1.3. Hopefully a chunk of them make it in. But yeah, just an FYI, there's a lot of incoming things in this space. But that's all from me.
Okay. Well, that's the end of our agenda. Thank you, everybody. Does anyone else have anything they want to add before we call this a very short meeting, because we're all just getting started?
It's great. Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you around.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.